So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept the humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, His Holiness Krishna Kshetra Swami Maharaj. And all glories to the Samad Vaishnava devotees. Devotees, we thank you all for being here today. It's Friday, the 30th of May. Wow.
Wow. How is it possible?
Yeah, it's surprising. The year is halfway gone, almost.
Yeah.
And we're very much fortunate to have His Holiness with us today. Today is Friday, like I said, is the last day of the busy week. Usually Fridays, people like to run to the countryside to have their peace. And Maharaj is here to share the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam with us, which is the embodiment of true peace and happiness. So, Maharaj, thank you. And without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen and you take it over from here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, thank you, Maharaj.
In this venue of, what is it? The Hare Krishna Africa, you call it, isn't it?
Yes, Maharaj, yes.
Yeah. Good. Okay, we'll start. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Today we're reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. How fortunate we are. And this is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, entitled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. And we'll read verse number 18 and 19, very possibly. We have two quite short purports. So these are prayers, and they are in the Basanta Tilaka meter. It's called, each of the Sanskrit poetic meters have a name, and this is one of the popular ones. So it goes like this. Yasmāt bibhemi aham dviparārdha-dhiṣṇyam. Tasmāt bibhemi aham dviparārdha-dhiṣṇyam. Adhyāsitaḥ sakala-loka-namaskṛtaṁ yat. Tepe tapo bahu-savo varurutsamānas. tasmai namo bhagavate dhimakhāya tubhyam yasmāt bibhemi api dviparārdha-dhiṣṇyam adhyāsitaḥ sakala-loka-namaskṛtaṁ yat tepe tapo bahu-savo varurutsamānas tasmai namo bhagavate dhimakhāya tubhyam. So then, what does it mean? Yasmād, from whom, bibhemi, fear, aham, I, api, also, dvi-para-ardha, up to the limit of 4,300,000,000 times 2, times 30, times 12, times 100 solar years. Dhiṣṇyam, place, adhyāsitaḥ, situated in sakala-loka, all other planets, namaskṛtam, honored by. Yat, that, tepe, underwent, tapaḥ, penances, bahu-savo, many, many years. Avarurutsamānaḥ, desiring to obtain you. Tasmai, unto him, namo, I do offer my obeisances. Bhagavate, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dhimakhāya, unto him who is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. And tubhyam, unto your Lordship. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation, Your Lordship. So Lord Brahma is speaking, he's praying directly to the Lord. Your Lordship, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are indefatigable time and the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Although I am situated in an abode which will continue to exist for a time duration of 2 parārdhas, although I am the leader of all other planets in the universe, and although I have undergone many, many years of penance for self-realization, still I offer my respects unto you. And a short purport. Brahma is the greatest personality in the universe because he has the longest duration of life. He is the most respectable personality because of his penance, influence, prestige, etc. And still, he has to offer his respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Therefore, it is incumbent upon all others who are far, far below the standard of Brahma to do as he did and offer respects as a matter of duty. And so ends verse and purport. Okay, verse 19. Tiryan manusha vibudadishu jiva yonishvat mechayat magrtasat setu paripsayaya reme nirasta vishayo pyavarutadehas tasmai namo bhagavate purushottamaya. And yes, word for word, why not? Tiryak, animals lower than human beings. Manusha, human beings, etc. Vibudha adishu, amongst the demigods. Jiva yonishu, in different species of life. Atma, self. Ichchaya, by the will. Atmakrita, self-created. Setu, obligations. That's interesting, because usually setu means bridge. Paripsaya, desiring to preserve. Yaha, who. Reme, performing transcendental pastimes. Nirasta, not being affected. Vishaya, material contamination. Aphi, certainly. Avarurutha, manifested. Deha, transcendental body. Tasmai, unto him. Namaḥ, my obeisances. Bhagavate, unto the Personality of Godhead. Purushottamaya, the primeval Lord. And translation, O my Lord, by your own will you appear in the various species of living entities, among animals lower than human beings, as well as among the demigods, to perform your transcendental pastimes. You are not affected by material contamination. You come just to fulfill the obligations of your own principles of religion. And therefore, O Supreme Personality, I offer my obeisances unto you for manifesting such different forms. And the purport, the Lord's incarnations in different species of life are all transcendental. He appears as a human being in his incarnations of Krishna, Rama, etc., but he is not a human being. Anyone who mistakes him for an ordinary human being is certainly not very intelligent, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:11. Avajananti mang mudha manushing tanumasritam. The same principle is applicable when he appears as the hog or fish incarnations. They are transcendental forms of the Lord and are manifested under certain necessities of his own pleasure and pastimes. Such manifestations of the transcendental forms of the Lord are accepted by him mostly to enliven his devotees. All his incarnations are manifested whenever there is a need to deliver his devotees and maintain his principles. And so ends the purport to verse 19. Okay. So Lord Brahma is not appearing for the first time in the Bhagavatam. He's already present in Canto 2. There's quite a lot of discussion in the first two cantos related to Lord Brahma. I get the impression that, Srila Vyasadeva wants to emphasize a few things. And in this context, what we're reading, these prayers, we can say one of the simple points he wants to make is the obvious one, that even Lord Brahma is subordinate to the Supreme Lord. Now, this is not news to the devotees. It's like, yes, so what else is new? But what we might broadly speak of as Hindu tradition, it could be a surprise for many who are worshiping what we call demigods. And if we go back to the Rig Veda, there are so many devas who are worshipped sort of one after another, especially Agni is worshipped. Agni is worshipped in particular as the visible god. Agni and Soma, they're both considered visible gods. All the others are invisible, but Agni and Soma are visible. Well, Soma is no longer visible. Nobody knows what the plant was. There's a lot of speculation. What was that psychedelic plant? And then there's Indra. Indra is receiving certainly the most praise in the Rig Veda. And very often he is praised specifically because he is the one who slays Vritra. He's considered he's kind of, Indra in the Rig Veda is a kind of the macho god, the big, powerful. And to my knowledge, there's no reference in the Rig Veda, not that I'm so knowledgeable about the Rig Veda, but to my knowledge, there's no hymns to Brahma, which is interesting. In general, we can say Brahma seems to always be in the background. He's very much in the background. He creates the world and kind of steps aside. But in the Bhagavatam, in cantos 2 and 3, he really comes forward. He's quite prominent. And as I understand, one reason for this is that the structure of cantos 4 through 9 seem to be essentially about going through the 14 manus. It's a kind of a day in the life of Lord Brahma is what seems to be happening in cantos 4 through 9. And so Lord Brahma is, well, he's getting the whole show started. He's creating, but he's not creating by himself. And his creating is not easy. His creation is fraught with trouble from the get-go, from the start. He creates, what is it? Tama, tama, and so on. He creates all these types, forms of ignorance. He has a kind of scandalous moment when his own daughter becomes a source of attraction for him. And then he has to sort of give up he has to sort of shed one body and kind of start over. So there are a few sort of false beginnings, false starts in the creation project. So it's no easy task that Brahma has. Brahma appears in the Bhagavad Gita as Prajapati. in chapter 3. I think it's verse 10. Sahayagya prajashrishta purovacha prajapati. It says that in the past, Pura Uvacha spoke. Who spoke? Prajapati. Here we go. Yes, Sahayagya prajashrishta purovacha prajapati anina prasavishyadvam eshavo astu ishta kamaduk. And in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods. So that Lord of all creatures means Prajapati, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna, or yagya, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation." So here, Prajapati, Lord Brahma, seems in a very, we may say, competent position. He is creating the world, and with the world, he's creating sacrifice, and then he's giving the instruction what to do. He's saying, perform sacrifice and you'll be happy. Anena, by this, prasavisyadvam, be happy. So it's interesting to think about different aspects of Lord Brahma's character, I think. In the second chapter, I was remembering, I think I have it here. Yeah, if you go to Canto 2, Chapter 2, verse 34, Bhagavan Brahma Kartsnyena Chir Anviksha Manishaya Tat Adya Vasyat Kutasto Ratir Atman Yato Bhavet. That Lord Brahma, with great attention and concentration of the mind, Kartsnyena Anviksha, studied the Vedas how many times? Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And after scrutinizingly examining them, Anviksha, Anu-iksha, he ascertained that attraction, rati, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Atmana, Sri Krishna, is the highest perfection of religion. Kutastha, I think, is on top of the mountain, literally. Kutastha here, concentration of the mind. Okay, but with the mind positioned in the highest position, you can say kutastha. So there, I always think this verse is important for us to, you could say, be a little patient in our study of Shastra. So it's kind of like Lord Brahma is giving example for us. He didn't study the Veda only once or twice, but 3 times. And the result of that was that he understood that rati, relish, attraction, savoring of the Lord is the whole purpose, is the whole point. Yeah. Atman, Atmani, Atmanyato. So anyway, Lord Brahma is a kind of many-faceted person, and then Then we come to the story in Canto 10, Chapter 13, that Lord Brahma gets a little, how shall we say? We could say, he's just proud, but I think he's also a little bit playful in that pastime, isn't it? He says, let's just see what happens. He's kind of adventure. Of course, he's extremely remorseful in the end when he's offering his prayers after all of this. Chapter 14 is again Lord Brahma's extensive prayers, famous prayers. One of which you may remember. Let's see who remembers this verse. I don't remember the number. Jnane prayasa udapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiyavarta sthane stita shrutigatam tanavan manobhir ye prayaso jita ajita api tais trilokya. Taihi trilokya. It's the verse where he's saying, don't get all tied up in trying to develop jnana, knowledge. Jnane prayasa udapasya. Namanta eva means just offer obeisance. So this is the same conclusion we get in verse 19. Or in Prabhupada's purport. Conclusion is, we're in a position just to offer obeisance. So, namanta eva jivanti san mukharitan bhavadiyavarta, and then sthane stita, stay where you are. Sthane stita. And what should I do? Just stay frozen? No. Sthane stita shrutikatam tanuvan manobi. Tanu means body. Van means vak or vach, which means voice. And mana, of course, means mind. So offering your body, your mind, your words, you can conquer the unconquerable. So that's Lord Brahma giving us some also very nice advice. We can be wherever we are, and we can serve Krishna. How can we serve Krishna? In 3 ways. Okay, let's go to these verses now. Yasmāt bibhemy aham api dviparārdha-dhiṣṇyam. So I was kind of wondering about this bibhemi, which Prabhupada translates as fear. I fear. I think it's first person singular, so it seems to be suggesting that I would say, if I was pressed, this is what in the Christian tradition they call being a God-fearing person, which has more the sense of being pious, following one's dharma, acting religiously. In other words, being fearful not in a so much a negative way, but in a sense of acknowledging there is a superior being, and I am dependent on that person. So yasmāt bibhemy aham api dviparārdha-dhiṣṇyam. So here, I think this api is Prabhupada is taking this, although I'm a leader of all these planets, sakala-loka-namaskṛtaṁ. This is what's called a bahu-vrihi compound. It's describing Lord Brahma as one to whom every planet has offered, to whom the residents, you could say, of every planet have offered respect. Namaskṛtam. The obeisance is done by who? Sakala-loka, by all the lokas everywhere. Everyone is offering me obeisance, and dviparārdha-dhiṣṇyam, I'm in the position, dhiṣṇyam, of, or for dvi-para-ardha for a very long time. Yeah, a very long time. So I've made it to the top. Can't get any higher than Lord Brahma. Everyone's offering me obeisance. And I've earned it. Tepe, tapo, bahu-savo. For so many years, I did austerity. This word tepe is sort of I endure, or I endured, or I suffered. I extended myself. I stretched myself. How? Tapa, with austerity. With heat, literally. Tapa just means heat. When you exercise, if you do lots of whatever, exercise, Surya Namaskars, or running up and down the stairs, especially running up, you'll perspire. We were doing this a few weeks ago. I was in China, and we were staying with devotees just outside Beijing in an apartment building with 33 or 34 floors, and they stay on the 33rd floor, I think it is. So for exercise, we would take the elevator down to, let's see, first we went to I guess it was the 15th floor. No, we went to the 20th floor and walked up the stairs. Then we went down to the 15th floor and walked up. So like that. So you'll get some heat by doing that. Tepe, tapo. Avarurutsamānaḥ. Now, I looked this up, and it's a bit strange. I couldn't quite get what it is. It seems to be related to the word in the next verse, avarudha, but the meaning seems very different. When there's this repeated syllable, rurutsa, that's indicating what's called a desiderative verb, which means desiring to whatever. And sometimes it's not an exact repetition. So in the Brahma Sutra, Vedanta Sutra, atato Brahma jignasa. So that jignasa, that first syllable, indicates the desire for knowledge. So anyway, here, what is it? Avarurutsamānaḥ, desiring to obtain you. So it has somehow has this sense. Yeah, when I looked it up, as sometimes happens, you look up in the Sanskrit dictionary for a word, and the one example they give is from the Bhagavatam. Anyway, so Lord Brahma is also another quality we can say of Lord Brahma is he's intelligent. He knows his position. That even though I'm, kind of the top, we say in English, the top dog. Actually, I'm not the top dog. Tasmai, namo, bhagavate, dhimakhāya tubhyam. And I worship you, I offer obeisance unto the adhimukha. Mukha is one word for sacrifice. And adhimukha is the, it could be like the principle of sacrifice. So we have adi yagya, adi bhuta, adi adhyātma, adi daiva, adi yagya. So this is adi mukha, which is like adi yagya. So the principle of sacrifice could be a way of understanding. Prabhupada translates unto him who is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. So, famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita, you all know it. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvalokamaheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mang shantim richati. Prabhupada's peace formula. Just understand these simple points. There is a book tree. There's an enjoyer. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam. He's the enjoyer of all sacrifices and austerity. Okay, and then the next verse. Is more praise of the Lord for what he does in relation to the universe. What does he do? He's appearing in so many different forms. Something I thought of in process of writing a little about the Lord's avatars is this is engaged divinity. You may have heard of engaged Buddhism. The idea is usually people think of Buddhists as they just sit and maybe chant some mantras and meditate, and that's all they do. But in recent years, there's been more and more activism by many people who identify as Buddhists, so then they call that engaged Buddhism. Yogeshwar Prabhu, my godbrother in New York, wrote his master's thesis on engaged Vaishnavism. And that's a quite interesting analysis he did. So the Lord appearing in the world, I would like to suggest we can think of as engaged divinity. The Lord is active. He comes to the world, and when he comes, it's never boring. He comes in so many different forms. It's said how many times by Srila Prabhupada, there are 8,400,000 species of animals and plants and so on, and insects and fish and so on. In other Other texts, that's referring to the Padma Purana, I believe. Other texts, I think it says there are more than that, even a lot more. But there are yoga texts which say there are 8,400,000 yoga asanas. That's a lot of different asanas. And then the text, I forget which one it is, goes on to say, we will focus on one. We will focus on one asana. And in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, there are 2 sutras about asana, and according to one scholar, they're basically one sutra in 2 parts that just says, sit comfortably and get on with focusing your mind. But here, the Lord is appearing, Tiryan manusha vibhuddha-dishu jiva yo nishvat mechayatmakrita setu paripsayaya. Tiryak, literally, if I remember correctly, a tiryak, it's an animal with a horizontal spine. Tiryak means horizontal. In any case, animals, humans, demigods, and so on. The Lord appears in all these different forms, which may remind us of one of the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj in Canto 7, Chapter 9. Let's see if we can remember. Itam Nritiryak Rishi Deva Jashavatarai Lokan Vibhavayasi Hangsi Jagat Pratipam Dharmang Mahapurusha Pas Yugana Vrittang Channa Kalo Yadabhavastri Yugo Tasattvam. Oh Lord, you appear in so many different forms. But in this age, Channa, you are covered. You are hidden. And of course, we understand the Gaudiya tradition. Followers of Lord Chaitanya, we understand who that's talking about. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself.
Hi, how are you guys? All right.
Haribol. Yeah. So Lord Brahma is appreciating, he's appreciating the Lord's versatility, that he can appear in so many different forms. And Prabhupada, what was the phrase he used? Oh, yeah. He says, they are transcendental forms of the Lord and are manifested under certain necessities of his own pleasure and pastimes. That's a very intriguing expression, necessities of his own pleasure. So to me, that suggests that the first consideration of the Lord in appearing is not saving fallen souls, it's not killing demons, it's not even reestablishing religious principles. It's his own sweet pleasure and pastimes, which of course include all of the other purposes. But this word necessities of his own pleasure and pastimes, I like that. It's nice. So Lord Brahma has, in the course of his offering these prayers, he's also, we could say, revealing things about himself. As I said, he's rather hidden in general. He's rather in the background, broadly speaking, in Vedic literature, but in the Bhagavatam, cantos 2 and 3, he really comes out, comes forward, and shows his recognition and therefore his humility. And of course, Prabhupada's point is, if Lord Brahma is recognizing his position, what about us? What to speak of us? And so I think that's some basic points. Finally, he concludes, tasmai namo bhagavate purushottamaya purusha uttama. I offer obeisance unto the Supreme Lord, who is the, ultimate person. And in this way, he's revealing something of himself. Lord Brahma recognize his appreciation of the Lord helps us to appreciate Lord Brahma. Hare Krishna. Those are a few thoughts. Maybe I stop there and see if you have any comments, any questions.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Maharaj. As always, beautiful and very deep analysis of the text and the purport. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations on this theme you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections. Maharaj, our first question I have is the word parārdha. Lord Brahma, let me see if I can put it up here. Is it 18? I think it's the 18. The text 18.
Dvi-para-ardha?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dvi-para-ardha, which dvi-para-ardha up to the limit of 4,300,000,000 times 2. Now, he is saying, Lord Brahma himself is saying that duration of 2 parārdhas. If my understanding serves me right, 1 parārdha is like the entirety of the lifespan of Lord Brahma. And if that is the case, then where does the 2 duration come about?
Oh. Actually, I was looking up parārdha myself, or dviparārdha. Where was it? One moment. Let's see. No, it's not there. Let me move this a little. And so, I mean, it's not that he's necessarily the absolute truth, but Munir Williams is kind of the standard Sanskrit dictionary. He says, dviparārdhika is equal to 50 of Brahma's years. Let's see, parārdha says go to parārdha, but then it doesn't give us a connection. Yeah. Sorry, I can't give you any definitive answer on that.
Yeah.
For me, it's just a very long time.
Yeah, I was thinking, does that mean like when he is living, and then when he is either back to the kingdom of God, or he's himself in the body of Mahavishnu. But because, except like what you just read, if Pararda is 50 years of Lord Brahma's life, then 2 of that, which means his entire lifespan, which is 100. But
Yeah.
I read some other sources that state that 1 Pararda is the entirety of the lifespan of Lord Brahma, which will equal to 100. So this is where, like, we have the disparity. Is it 50 or is it 100? But
This is one of those many things where you'll get different versions.
yeah,
It may say one thing one place and something else somewhere else.
yeah.
For
Dear
me, it's
Lalita, okay, go, Marek, please, yes, go ahead.
For me, it's just a very long time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, Maharaj. Dear Lalita, please, you said you have a question. Please unmute yourself and go ahead to ask your question.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna. I do have a question, Guru
Can you increase your volume a little bit?
I can
Good.
maybe try
Good.
speak louder. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I have a question. I'm not sure if I'm understanding it properly. From the purport of Srila Prabhupada on the 19th, in the 19th verse, when you have just mentioned one of your last sentences that you like very much that the Lord, the forms of the Lord, and are manifested under certain necessities of his own pleasure and pastimes. So, and then this next sentence says, such manifestations of the transcendental forms of the Lord are accepted by him mostly to enliven his devotees.
Mhm.
So it turns out, I mean, in my understanding, that actually the Lord is serving everyone by appearing in different forms, by having his pastimes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm understanding it properly.
Yeah. Well, we could say also for the Lord, that's a necessity. It's he is impelled by that desire to enliven his devotees. So, yeah, it's his pleasure and pastime to enliven the devotees, could say.
So, which means like we are trying to serve him by sadhana, by trying to develop a relationship with Krishna. But actually, he's serving the whole everyone in the spiritual world and in the material world. It's mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing, indeed.
He's the Lord, but he's the servant.
Yeah. And he says, where is that? In Padma Purana also. I just read this morning. Aradhanam sarvesham Vishnur aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. Of all kinds of worship, the worship of Vishnu is the best, but even better is worshiping Archanam, the Lord's devotees. And then you get all these verses in Canto 9, Chapter 4, glorifying, what is it? Sadhavo hridayam mahyam, etc. Sadhunam hridayam tvaham. The sadhus are in my heart, or they are my heart, and I am their heart, and I know no one but them, and they know no one but me. So it's like that.
It's absolutely amazing. Then maybe the Lord Brahma was also saying that even though he has a knowledge because of so long time, he's being offered prayers and obeisances and respect from all of the residents from all of the planets from the universe.
Mhm.
But he's reminding himself that he is the actual servant of the Lord.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we might also say that getting all this praise from everyone, which we never seem to hear about, but he's getting praised by everyone. After a while, it gets tiresome. He wants to glorify the Lord, not to hear his own glory. Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear Lajita Devi. Anyone else with a question? Well, Maharaj. Okay. Madhavan Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for giving us the
Hare Krishna.
time. Also,
It's a little hard to hear you if.
Okay. Maybe I'll speak louder.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. When you started the lecture, you mentioned that it's visible, Agni and the moon god,
Soma.
the moon demigod, and Soma. Thank you, Agni and Soma. You said that they are visible. So please, I don't know. Maybe I overheard you, or I need more explanation on that statement. All right.
Maharaj, excuse me, I had a question in that regard. So if I may add mine to his, so you answer at one time. And that is, yeah, you said Agni and Soma are visible gods that people usually worship. And I was thinking, why not Surya, the sun god? Why is he not counted as one of the visible? Because like
Yes,
the first Gayatri mantra, the Surya is glorified. So if you may shed light on this. Hare Krishna.
Stump the Swami. Yeah, good point. And I don't know what would be answered to that. It's just something I read in some discussion, some analysis of Rig Veda, that these two, I think it may be because Agni is right there in the fire in the center of the yajna. And Soma, of course, can refer to the moon god, but in this context, it refers more to the plant, which they make into a juice, which then is offered to Indra, and which apparently the priests also drink it because they seem to get quite intoxicated by it. So the point may be not only are they visible, but they are tangible. You can touch them, whereas Surya is far away in the sky. That's we're in the area of speculation now.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay, but yeah, it's interesting that there's a lot about Soma in the Rig Veda. The Rig Veda is organized into what's called mandalas. There are 10 we might want to say cantos, but they're called mandalas. And if I remember right, the 9th mandala is entirely dedicated to Soma, and it's especially describing how the Soma juice is prepared. There are many hymns to Soma and the process of preparing. So it seems to have been quite a thing to prepare the Soma. There's the morning, they call it pressing. They have this plant, whatever it was, and nobody knows for sure what it was. And they had some way of pressing out the juice. And there would be, I guess, in some rituals, there would be a morning pressing and a noon pressing and an evening pressing. And apparently they had some kind of device to sort of catch the juice and channel it into the fire. And they would add to the juice, they would add some milk, and did they add water? Maybe also. Apparently, it was a very strong liquid, so they would dilute it some. Seems to have been some kind of psychedelic plant. Yeah.
Maharaj, there was one of the various verses you referenced, and I can't think of which one. And you were saying that Indra is hereby referred to. I think that is Bhagavad Gita, one of the popular verses. I think 3 something, where Krishna says, by offering sacrifices to the demigods or something like that. But you were explaining that Prajapati refers to Indra.
No, maybe I wasn't clear. No, it refers to Brahma.
Oh, sorry. I'm mistaken. That is what you said. Refers to Brahma. But if we could remember the verse in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, 310. Okay, thank you. Let me put it up. I know it's 3, but here 310. Let me go here. 3 and then 10. Okay, in the beginning of creation. Thank you. So, in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods. So, this is where you're saying it, that the Lord of all creatures refers to Lord Brahma. And in the word-for-word transliteration, Srila Prabhupada says Prajapati, the Lord of creatures.
Right.
But in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says the material creation by the Lord of creatures, in parentheses, vision.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, when is the Lord of creatures Vishnu? When is the Lord of creatures Lord Brahma?
Yeah, or when, or to make it more complicated, when is Lord Brahma, when is his position taken by Vishnu?
Yeah.
So there's a kind of, there's, a sort of, how to say, it's one or the other. When he says Saha Yagya Praja Shrishva, Prajasrishtva means having spewed forth, having spilled out the praja, the progeny. It's a cognate of the English progeny. Sahayagya, together with yagya. And of course, Yagyavai Vishnu, Vishnu is identified with yagya. There's a kind of non-difference of yagya and Vishnu. So you can think of it that way, that it's a kind of complete system. Lord, you could say like this: Lord Vishnu, in the form of Lord Brahma, is creating the universe with the praja and with the yagya. And Vishnu, in the form of yagya, takes that form as yagya to receive offerings. And in any case, it's all Vishnu. Vishnu is doing the whole thing in different forms. You know, it's kind of like in the Sagara Mantana, the churning of the ocean pastime. The Lord appears in so many different forms simultaneously. He's Kurma, and then again he's on top of the mountain, and then again he's helping the demigods and the demons to churn. So he's kind of, he's all over the place.
Then he manifests as Mohini.
Yes, and then he manifests as Mohini.
Well, Maharaj, I will definitely, as I usually do, I will go back to listen to this beautiful lecture.
Oh.
There was one reading we had from the references you were making also, that this Lord Brahma, let me see how to frame the question so that it will be a little bit sensible. that is, this Lord Brahma we're talking about, he's offering this wonderful praise. He sometimes had to shed his body because he acted improperly. And there was one verse where it says that Lord Brahma had to read the Vedas 3 times. And you were saying this is to remind us that we should have the patience, that if we just read it once, we don't get it, we have to continue reading. Now I'm thinking Lord Brahma has 4 heads. And with 4 heads, if it had to take him 3 times to study, and if even we are as close as Lord Brahma in intelligence, which means the minimum for us to read and have any understanding will be 12 times. And even one time, we may not even have the lifespan to study the Vedas one time. So when I became a devotee, it took me a long time before I had initiation. And I was concerned that I may die before getting initiated. So I asked my Gurudev that what happens as I'm trying to become a devotee, I leave my body without having initiation. And my Guru said at the time that the Guru will arrange for you to have another opportunity to continue with your devotional service. So my question is, if we are unable to study these Vedas to understand, if even it is possible for us to study to understand, what happens if we should leave our body without understanding the scriptures? What is our fate? Even though we tried so much, but we did not understand the concept. Just as Lord Brahma, he had to read it 3 times in order to understand. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
The answer to your question from me is I'll let you know when it happens to me. I mean, we generally understand we're going to be able to continue, right? From wherever we leave off, there's no loss or diminution. Ne abhikramanashosti pratyavayo navidyate svalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So I think the basic point is we keep going. And there's a verse, I think it's in Hitopadesha, that one should engage in study, in learning, as if one will live forever. And one should engage in one's religious activities as if one knows one will die tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Maharaj. Miss Gail, please, you may unmute. Gail Devi.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Hare Krishna everybody. Yeah,
Hare
just I'd like to follow up on this last question. So my understanding is that, our studies of Shastra is really meant to bring us to the point of surrender, that devotional mood towards Krishna, towards love of Krishna, not to have, to be so adept at scholarship,
Right. Yeah.
and so if we have achieved that devotional mood and we don't know, what all the shastras mean, like the gopis are given as an example, right? That they were not particularly scholarly, and they're simple, very simple-minded devotees who, may not understand shastra so much. And there's also the example of that Brahmin who was reading the Gita upside down, but he got it.
Got it.
So, I mean, as long as we get it, right? It seems to me that we don't have to be expert in the shastras, even with our little one head. So,
yeah, so it kind of goes both ways. The verse that I referred to here, this is Canto 2, Chapter 234, Trir Anviksha Manishaya. Brahma studied 3 times carefully Anviksha. But what was the result? The result was Rati Atmani Atobhavet. He got a taste and he understood that's the point. So you could say, well, he was maybe it took him 3 times before he understood that. But if you can understand it just by reading once, and not reading all the Vedas, but reading the Bhagavatam, then everything is good.
Okay.
But the other way around is to think, okay, I'm a little slow, so even Lord Brahma took 3 times. So I shouldn't think I'm going to get it right away. So I should keep trying.
Yeah, because I mean, even that mode of I'm going to keep trying, is like you've got it already, because
Yeah.
it's not
Why
like
would you keep trying unless you got it?
exactly, and because the pure devotees, they read to relish, really, right? They're not trying to increase their fund of knowledge.
Yeah,
Their mood in reading is already devotional. It's
right.
it's an act of devotion.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
good point. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Gail Devi. Anyone else? Maharaj, you talked about Lord Brahma wanting to find out who this little boy Krishna is in Canto 10, I think chapter 13. And then the next chapter is when he realized who Lord Krishna was, he started offering praise. Now, my understanding is that there are three worlds and there are three moods: ignorance, passion, goodness. And those in hell are in ignorance. Those in the middle planet, like Earth, are in the mode of passion. Those in the upper planetary systems are in the mode of goodness. But when the Lord Brahma was praying to Krishna in 10, 14, 10, if I put it up here, it says, therefore, let me click here. 10, 14, 10. It says, therefore, O infallible Lord, kindly excuse my offenses. I have taken birth in the mode of passion, and am therefore simply foolish, presuming myself a controller independent of your Lordship. My eyes are blinded by the darkness of ignorance, which causes me to think of myself as the unborn creator of the universe. But please consider that I am your servant and therefore worthy of your compassion. Lord Brahma was born directly from Lord Vishnu. How then is he born in the mode of passion? This is my bewilderment. And Maharaj, if you may help. Or is it that Lord Brahma is being excessively
Just being humble.
humble? I don't know. So, but I was thinking if he is not in the mood of pure goodness, at least he should be in the mood of goodness. But here he's saying that he was born in the mode of passion.
Sometimes it's said, because, Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva are the three guna avatars, right? So they're associated with Vishnu, mode of goodness, Brahma, mode of passion, Shiva, mode of ignorance. They're associated with them, or they are overseeing them, you might say. So it could be a combination that Lord Brahma is, we might want to say he's a bit caught up in the mode of passion because that's his service. He has a big job. He's got to get this whole universe rolling,
Yeah.
Not so easy. So he needs to roll up his sleeves. He needs to get everybody doing what they're supposed to do, and so on. So it takes some, Prabhupada invariably translates Rajaguna as passion, which is as it should be. But you can also say more generally, and perhaps a little more neutrally, Rajaguna is the mode of activity.
Mm.
And Tamaguna is the mode of inertia, of inactivity. And one interesting way of understanding the modes, I find, is with a little help from Aristotle. This isn't my idea. This came from Satyaraj Prabhu, my godbrother. Talks about this in one of his books he wrote many, many years ago. Aristotle, in his, however you pronounce it, Nicomachean Ethics, in his book on ethics, he's talking about virtue. He's basically talking about what would be called virtue ethics. And I think the example he gives is of a quality of virtue is courage. And then if you go too far with courage in one direction, you get rash behavior. In other words, you may do something which is more dangerous than you should be doing unnecessarily. And so that's in one direction, sort of going on the edge away from courage. And in the opposite direction, someone is timid, is maybe coward, we would say cowardly, withdrawing, won't even dare to get up and go out the door. And so that I think we could make an interesting parallel with the three modes, where you have courage is mode of goodness in this case, and passion is doing something that's rash and maybe dangerous, unnecessarily dangerous. And ignorance is where you're overcautious and not doing anything or hiding or something. So instead of ignorance, passion, goodness, you have goodness as the middle point, and then you have passion on one side and ignorance on the other. And I mean, I don't know where this is going, but I've read one analysis of this because I was studying a little about ethics for some writing I do. An interesting thing is certain activities, there's only one absolute ideal of that activity. What's the example is eating. So if you eat too much, that's not good. If you don't eat enough, that's not good. There's exactly one point in the middle. And that is, the max, the ideal amount that you eat and that your body can take. And so the point of this is that ethics also involves law. In this case, a kind of material law. If we're thinking about eating, we have physical bodies, and so, it's like the law of gravity and so on. If we are obedient to those laws, then we can be nicely situated. So anyway, it's just another way of thinking of the modes of nature, I think.
Yes, Gail, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna again.
Yeah.
Yeah, also putting my 2 cents in with this question also. What
That's
I've
all right.
heard
You can
is
put in 3 cents if you like.
yeah, actually I'm putting in 1 cent for each of the modes. So what I've heard is that when it comes to Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, is that although they do come in contact with those modes, that they aren't controlled by them
Right.
like us common jivas are,
Right.
So they're on a whole different level, even
Yeah.
though they are, they're not completely aloof from them. So
Yeah,
that's
they may be a bit tinged, but they're not affected like we are.
right.
Well, I can't think of the verse, but I read somewhere, of course, quite recent, but very poor memory, where Srila Prabhupada was stating that Lord Vishnu invested Lord Brahma with the mode of passion
Mm-hmm.
just so he will be able to create, like Maharaj you were saying, because if there is no passion, how are you going to perform any activity?
Yeah.
So, as you were answering my question, I was also thinking, and that is when I recalled that I had read something, but I can't quote, but I very much remember Srila Prabhupada said that Lord Vishnu invested Lord Brahma with mode of passion just so he will be enabled to create. But I have one question in terms of creation and the dissolution. We know Lord Brahma goes to sleep, and when he goes to sleep, everything gets dissolved. And when he wakes up, everything comes back. And I am wondering, when a Lord Brahma goes to sleep and wakes up, does he begin creation all over, or it's just like in the temperate world? In winter, the trees appear to be dead, and then come spring, like they say, April rain bring in the flowers in May. So I'm just trying to understand how it works. When Lord Brahma goes to sleep, and then when he wakes up, he has to start creating everything back again. That would be a very difficult task.
It's like Sisyphus raising the stone up the hill every time. The Greek story of Sisyphus. He was cursed to push this huge stone up to the top of a hill. As soon as he gets it to the top, it rolls back down, and he has to go down and push it back up again for eternity. That's it. That's the curse. So it does sound something like that, doesn't it? I don't know.
I'm no one to pity Lord Brahma, but if that is the case, I'm sorry for Lord Brahma.
I wouldn't want to be in his position, right?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
That's
That's
because
my
of
humble obeisances. I want to say something about this Lord Brahma's creation. Not to say about a question or comment. Speaking of creation, by Lord Brahma creation, how he creates all these bodies and other stuff. How does he create? If he is to lift a weight, then we can say that, oh, that would be very, very tedious. If he is to use his hand to mold and to curve and to do this and that physically, then we can say that would be very, very tiresome. But if he is to create by using his mind power, like in the Bible, there's a statement says that God says, let there be light, and there was light.
Right.
So if it is just that, then where do we see the fatigue in that kind of situation? So how does Lord Brahma create? Does he use anything like his hand? Does he use his mind? Or how? How does he create? So that we can understand whether, it can be tied by waking up and recreating again or not. I think that will help us.
Certainly, Lord Brahma's creating activity is not what we can understand so easily. If his body is constituted of buddhi, of intelligence, and then again it's said that the different sages appear from the different limbs of his body, and Narada appears from his heart. None of this really computes for us with our gross physical bodies. And then also it's said that with his four heads, he emanates the Veda. So the sound, I think that's the general understanding. How does he create? He creates through sound. From sound, everything comes. Yeah.
Well, Maharaj, thank you so much for giving us such your valuable time. And
now that I got us all confused.
Well, it's almost always difficult trying to understand spiritual things with our mundane mind, but
minds, yeah.
That is all we have. So what can we do? We have to struggle with it.
We try our best. That's right.
But, thank you for the guidance.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for having me.
So, Maharaj, if you may have maybe a concluding remark, then we may bring this to a final close.
A concluding remark.
Yes.
Well, let's remember Lord Brahma's reading the Vedas 3 times and take that as an inspiration that we can go on studying the Bhagavatam. That's all I would say.
Well, thank you so much, Maharaj. And
if you want to worship Lord Brahma, the place to go apparently is Pushkar. I've never been there myself, but that's this place for worshiping Lord Brahma in Rajasthan.
Well, thank you so much, Maharaj. Dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our revered speaker, His Holiness Krishna Kshetra Swami Maharaj, for sharing his love and wisdom with us today. Please, you may all unmute yourselves. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Vataka Pasura Pecha, Hipashin, Yo Krishna, Namaha.
Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai. Haribol.
Krishna Kshetra Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Vaishnava
Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna
Hare Paul,
Africa
Hare
ki jai.